Broadcast is live.
Okay, so that's live. View on YouTube. Continue on YouTube. There we go. Let me check. Yeah. Okay. There we go. That's the link I'm sending you now.
All right, so that's the link to the event, right?
Correct.
Hello?
There you go.
Am I to be heard?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Hello. Can you guys?
Darth Vapor.
Vape Nash, brah.
Ah, you got your HODL shirt on. Well done, sir.
Yeah, it's special for the stream.
Look,
Oh, you got the Zell ID. Where'd you get that?
I got connections, bro. I get the inside stuff. I get the exclusive gear. Now, actually, it was on Mind Your Business web store. It's still there.
It wasn't Doge Lords?
No, Mind Your Biz had a whole shit ton of stuff that you could get for Zell back in the day, and then he turned it to Flux. And so Flux is LID. I got one for Flux Labs. I've got one for a bunch of different stuff. That's what I said. If you want those stickers that you were talking about, you might want to take a look at him because he's actually pretty good.
Yeah, he's been kind of dark. Like I haven't been able to get a hold of him.
Well,
ever since that miner passed away, Savage Miner, he's been kind of like MIA.
Yeah. Well, I think that hit us all, the whole community, fairly hard. Because I mean, that guy was a great guy, man. He did a lot of stuff for proof of work for mining. Greggybear, we can hear you. I can hear you breathing. There you are. Yeah,
I think we are live on the YouTube as well. So.
Oh, so we shouldn't say.
Is Ali going to be here too? Is he going to be the person reading the questions?
Ali is my right-hand man. He keeps the
shit. I'm gonna try something different from the regular Zoom and see how this goes. And if it's nice, it's just gonna keep it this way. Let's see. All right, is the AMA closed or what? Okay.
I think X4 closed it or did a dump for us.
20 questions. Is that what it is? Wait, no, it's a lot.
Some of these questions are tricky.
It says 20 questions. 20 questions. Yeah.
Sounds good. I like around 20 questions is usually really good.
Regarding stickers, I do have a line with a company that if we make one order, we can post a link and other people can replicate that order. It's fairly uncommon for them to support web ordering, though. I don't know why. It seems like an untapped market for them.
I don't know. I think we should just order a bunch of cheap ones from China on Alibaba and start our own shop.
I got a domain.
Well, do you have a DAP? Because we're running right on Flux, man. First decentralized merch store.
Oh, I've been looking into that. You know that.
Hey,
who's the
Magento has a Docker container and is open source. Yep.
I want to get BTC pay server.
Like, yeah, that's going to be a good one.
It's just the standard on payment with crypto.
Don't give away all our secrets, Soul Stash. This is live.
No.
So what I'm hearing is go on Trello and just start reading from the top.
Yeah, that'd be a good way. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that.
All right, let's see if I can see those questions.
Ali knows I love when he messes with shit in the last minute. I love this. It's so much fun. So much fun.
Okay, so this is how the question is going to be getting displayed. We can answer those. And then this is also coming from YouTube Live right there. So.
Okay. Well, yeah, we were going to do it from the Flux Lab account, but we have to get it set up first. So we kind of changed this in the 11th hour, and we were like, hey, let's do something new.
Yeah,
why not?
Anarchy.
Yeah, I love anarchy. It's what makes crypto great, right? Break shit. You're like, oh my God, nothing works. It's 5 minutes to go. You're down to the 11th hour.
Dan, I messaged you yesterday. Hey, you gonna do it or not? But no response. I thought maybe you don't want to do it, and I was just like, and then
Little Stache, what did I say to you today?
What was the question?
Live. We'll do it live.
Oh yeah.
Live.
Yeah, test and production. That's how we do things.
Yeah. Let's see how the YouTube thing is going. These guys can see us or no?
What is this? When
live right there.
in Sarah pool. What is a Sarah pool?
A Sarah pool?
I don't know. Dr. Google might know.
I don't know.
The second question, like 0, 1, 2. So I guess.
All right. Well, don't get ahead. Don't get ahead because there might be.
Oh, I'm just reading these really quick.
These questions.
I mean, we're gonna be stumped on this Sarah pool unless we know like what it is.
No, I know what it is. It's just a pool. It's a staking pool.
Something through.
Well, people can do that in DeFi. That was the whole point of the parallel assets.
Hashtag DeFi, right?
Yeah, like a lot of these questions, like people are asking like utility cases. What utility case isn't there? Like we're on all these other chains. You can utilize.
You can't answer all the questions now, Stache. That's not how it works.
I know.
Calm
if
down.
people wanted privacy, there's ZK rollups on Ethereum and shit like that. Like,
well, you can
parallel assets opens up a ton of opportunity.
You can say that when we're live. You can answer.
You guys are already live. You on YouTube. They can listen to whatever you're saying here now.
Baba Booey. Howard Stern.
Baba Booey. Oh, I remember that, man. Baba Booey.
All right, so you want to run some videos and we come back, or?
What do we got? Like 2 minutes? Just run the intro one time and then we'll fire it up.
Perfect. All right.
I don't know how you don't get pumped up after watching those trailers. So big shout out to Dim and all the badass trailers that he gives us. Gets me motivated. Just put those on a loop for about an hour. You know, drink a shit ton of coffee, get some stuff done. Right?
Yeah, his videos are amazing. They pump people up.
Yep, they do. Welcome, everybody, to a more informal AMA. And I don't know if you could get any more informal than the AMAs that I usually do, but this is like super informal. And I want to welcome today my special guests, because I have multiple guests here, Litte Stache and Greggybear. And Ali.
What's going on, everyone?
What are you guys up to today? It's Saturday. It's time to reflect. It's time to answer some questions. It's time to educate, right? You guys ready for that? So special thanks to Ali for setting up this new platform. So StreamYard is what we're going to probably be using moving forward. We want to try something different out today. So I think we'll set it up different next time. If you didn't find us on Flux Lab today, it's because we are trying a new platform, and we'll actually upload this video to Flux Lab later today. So somebody's got music going. Who is that?
Oh, sorry.
It's getting aggressive.
I think that's Final Fantasy VII in the background. I'll turn that off.
It's getting aggressive, man. Getting aggressive.
There we go. It's off. I apologize for that. I just upgraded to the PS5 version. I was pretty hyped this morning.
Nice.
Stache is like the worst AMA guest ever. He comes on, he starts answering all the questions in the first 3 seconds, cranks up the music. Oh my God, Stache, you got to get your shit together.
And here I am living Vape Nation, right?
Yeah.
Dude,
well,
he was lucky enough to get a PlayStation 5. You got to give him some credit for that.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Oh, that hunt was not easy. Like,
those things still like ridiculously expensive and hard to find.
Yeah. I was looking yesterday. They're still going for like $800, $900, $1,000 on eBay, and they're impossible to get.
That's because they found that place in China that had like 500 of them, and they were all mining. Did you see that?
Those were PS4s.
PS5s
are just they're
even
just
the illegal people in
impossible to get.
China couldn't get a PlayStation 5.
That's insane. Wow. All right, guys. The way we handle the AMA is I'm going to do a real quick recap and what a week 2 weeks it has been, right? So we're on day 17 of the 20 and 20, and it has been absolutely awesome. The architect or the guy behind the scenes who's helped out with that 21 20, that's Litte Stache, and I'll be able to let him answer some of these questions as well as we go through it. But I'm just going to recap it real quick. This is going to be fast and furious because there's a lot to go through, and I guarantee that I'm going to miss something. So we announced the 20 on 20, and immediately one of the very first things we did was we actually got picked up by Yahoo News, so it was fairly well known, and I think there's a lot of people watching this 20 on 20 as it continues to mature. So super excited about that. Get a good fresh set of tech eyes on it as well, because this is kind of important. So our very first launch was our white papers. So there's been a lot in the crypto Twitter space about white papers and them being hosted on individual servers. Shout out to Cobra and what he had done against, I'm not going to say who, the name that shall not be named, Voldemort, right? But he had a Bitcoin white paper posted, and it ended up being kind of a mess. So we're going to do it decentralized. I have no idea where they're at right now, but they're all over the place. So congratulations on that.
It's pretty cool. Like, even a couple days ago, we actually saw its like first legitimate use case. Our website was down and we were moving things around, and this guy was halfway through reading the white paper and he wasn't able to finish. So I simply just gave him the link to the white papers hosted on Flux. They're there for data preservation purposes, and he was able to continue reading it. Like, it's actually seeing use case.
Yeah, that's great. And I bet you did that on purpose. I did it on purpose. I took the website down just so that we had it. Just blame it on me there, right? So, so that was a big deal. We also sent out our call for developers. So we actually dropped some information. You can earn 100,000 Flux for developing a going through the XDAO, which we'll talk about the XDAO here in a minute, because that's a big damn deal. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, but we're calling for developers. If you can Dockerize it, create an application that brings tons of useful use case to Flux, then do it and get paid to do it, and that's pretty cool. One of our other big announcements was our upcoming partnership with Firo. So Firo, Ruben and that group over there, they are OGs. They've been around in this space about as long as anyone. They know what privacy is. When we talked earlier this year, when we removed some of the privacy aspect of Flux, we said they're going to be people that do privacy, and we're going to help them, but it's going to look different than what we're doing. So congratulations to the Firo guys. I'm glad to have them on board. We're going to have more information on being able to launch those nodes and what that cycle will look like in a couple days. But yeah, that was pretty big. That was a pretty big deal as well. We launched on our DeFi platforms. So we now have Uniswap. We now have Pancake Swap. I don't know all the damn swaps. Just go through the food names. You got, whatever it is, hamburger swap or whatever the hell it is. So yeah, but the cool thing is the community has really gotten involved with that, and they've really started to provide liquidity that we actually started to surpass the liquidity on one of our major exchanges. So congratulations to the community on that. And they had some fun messing around with stuff and figuring it out and creating pools, and everybody gets pissed off about it, but then they come back in the end and they figure it out. So it's awesome. So good work, community, on that one. And then we launched a bunch of games. And people say, well, why are we launching games? Why is that important? Well, it is important. It is important because if you're building a new iterative based technology, you need to show that you can properly begin it from you can develop it from the beginning, right? So that is super important. These games are serious time sinks, and that one damn star clicker or whatever it is, I had to turn that off and go away from it. And one of the other cool things is we launched our Minecraft server. So Litte Stache worked on that for quite a while. We launched a Minecraft server, and now that's significant as well because there is apparently, according to my children, a big market for Minecraft servers, right? And there's some other Roblox game that they like. I don't know, whatever. Minecraft, Roblox, whatever. So that was kind of cool, and it was a cool use case, and we really liked that. My favorite app other than what I'm going to announce today, my favorite app it has been poker. So I didn't get a chance to take Litte Stache's money last night, and I was seriously pissed off. Or 2 days ago, I was seriously pissed off about it because I know he would have just went all in immediately. So I would have won, and I would have had his.
I think anyone can beat me at poker at this point. I am not good, but I'm willing to fight you for some money. You
heard it here. So everybody come to poker night. We're taking Litte Stache's Flux. Let's call it a day. So we are going to work on setting up a regular game. I think we talked about Thursday nights or Saturday nights. I can't remember. But, if you got a fridge full of beer, some snacks, and you want to hang out with some cool guys and learn some shit. And if I drink enough beers, then I'm going to tell you a lot of stuff. So come along and get behind the scenes, right?
And even if you want to just watch, I'll live stream it on Twitch.
Well, what we can do also is set that up for YouTube as well, because I think that's important to come from Flux as well. So if we want to do Twitch, we'll do YouTube, we'll do a bunch of different ones, just for the fun of it, I think. So another big one, which is super cool. And if you're an OG in the tech space, you know why this is important and why this kicks ass. IRC. I love IRC. That is how I came into being and in the crypto world and the technology world, right? That's how you got shit done. And you troll the piss out of people, but it was a lot of fun, right? So we're actually using IRC that we launched on the Flux network. We're going to use it as a support piece eventually. So what we're going to do is integrate this into different parts of the website, the new website that's coming, and will allow people to be able to communicate directly with the community without being on Discord. How nice is that? So, people can come to the website. Hey, ask a question about the project. How do I deploy on Flux? How do I stand this up? Where do I download Zelcore? Boom. You're coming right to the community, and the community helps. So good work on that, Litte Stache. She put up lots of web hooks and shit and whatever. I don't know. It's important stuff behind the scenes. So super excited for that. OS 13K, which is I don't know if I described this right, Litte Stache. It's a micro OS that was launched. It's essentially a very small OS, and you can give more detail about it.
Yeah, it's a proto OS. It essentially runs on top of the existing architecture, but it has fail safes in place so that people can hack the container and destroy it. But yeah, it's pretty cool seeing something like that built out and the whole entire OS in a zip file at 10 kilobytes. People don't realize the significance behind that just because it's maybe like a small app. It doesn't have too many features. But to actually compress that into 10 kilobytes is so damn impressive. Yeah, at least from a programming aspect of it. Maybe not to the end user, but I was impressed.
Yeah, and those are the kind of things those apps, those developmental pieces are the kind of things that catch people's eyes. So that was a really good ad. And the last one I'll talk about here in this update is the XDAO. So we officially launched the XDAO, calling all developers out there who would like to develop. The new website will be going live next week, and it is exquisite. It is as enterprise and as you could ask for. These guys have seen it. They know what I'm talking about. It really takes us to a different platform. It takes us out of the kind of crypto scenario that we were kind of building these blockchain crypto scenario. It's more of a tech stack model. You'll be able to deploy. You'll be able to research how and deploy nodes. It's very seamless. So super excited for that. And then I'll have another couple announcements at the end of the AMA so that everybody stays and listens, because there's some big stuff coming, right? So without further ado, let's get rocking on the AMA. So Ollie, if you want to fire it up, let's go.
Sure. The first question is right on the screen. So they're saying there are concerns, for example, 2 miners will keep the parallel mining reward since March 27th, right? And then the market's selling them instead of distributing them to the Flux miners. Is there any defense plan against such actions? It's more like distribution from these guys.
Do you want me to answer this one?
No, I can handle it.
Okay.
I'll start it off and then you can finish it out. So essentially, this distribution, this parallel mining scenario, this is by design. And if they don't honor it to their miners, it's a disservice to their miners. And guess what? They're going to go somewhere else. So, all pool operators are in the exact same thread. They'll know exactly when those assets will be released, and they know who they have to distribute them to. So if you're in a pool that doesn't honor the parallel mining or whatever, then leave that pool and go to somewhere else. Spread the hash. Make sure you go somewhere that doesn't have all the hash. But I would say I know these guys. I've worked with these guys for the past few years, and I truly believe that they'll honor it and provide it to their miners, because it's a reputation. So
beyond that, they can't, because mining pools have to be whitelisted to be able to use Fusion. Yep. So if they don't come up with a distribution plan and whitelist with us, then they can't do those malicious acts.
Yep. Yeah. And there is I'm just going to say it the way it is. There's a little air of centralization there because we're the ones that are controlling that whitelist. But the ultimate goal is to eventually get to that point where it doesn't even matter. It would just be an automated process. So, every technology that we build is not going to be decentralized from day one. It's going to have some pieces and components that have an air of centralization to it as we work toward the final goal. Perfect example is the XDAO. We've been saying for 3.5 years, hey, we're going to launch an XDAO and the community is going to be involved in the governance of the project. And we did it, right? So for several years, we were very centralized. The core team was really the people that were pulling the switches behind the scenes. And we were okay with that as we kind of grew. But the ultimate goal is to get this thing to where if long after Dan's gone and Litte Stache and Greggy and Ollie and Trunk and Parker and all these guys, long after we're gone, right? This thing continues to propagate itself for years to come. So that's why this project is different from any other project, because we understand the iterative process and the ultimate end goal, which is the community involvement and development of that. So anyway, on to the next question.
The next question is, I think it's from Andrea, saying, some people ask me how many years will it take for all 440 million Flux to be mined? Do we have a rough estimate?
No clue, man. We'd have to ask Today's or something like that. Little, do you have?
I actually did some rough calculations on this, and the halving schedule didn't change due to the parallel assets because it just doubled, and you're still mining that, and it's still the same emission schedule. But around 25 years, most of them will be mined, but there's actually around like 64 halvings in total. So it's going to take between 120, 150 years to actually mine all of them. But 99% of them will be mined in about 25 years.
Long after I'm gone. So keep everybody. I don't know if my grandkids will have their Flux nodes running and mining. So I'm sure they will, because that's the ultimate goal. So 100 plus years, lots of time.
Contingencies in the will. In order to get an inheritance, you got to keep the nodes up.
Got to keep the nodes up, man. Well, I just, I'll keep the private keys somewhere and I'll have it time released. It'll just keep running for infinity till they figure out how to get them. So I'll do some kind of crazy puzzle.
There you go.
All right. Next question, Ollie.
Next question is, when staking in Syrup pool? I think he's talking about Pancake Swap. I think that's there.
No, I think it's a liquidity pool. So Syrup, I believe, is a liquidity pool for Pancake. And I believe that we have a lot of people working on these DeFi components, so I can't really answer that. The team themselves have kind of pulled back from doing any of the DeFi components, mostly because we've got just too much shit to do. So we need to rely on the community to do some of these things and engage some of these DeFi pieces. So the answer to your question is ask in the DeFi section and see who's willing to step up and get it rolling.
I think a lot also hinges on 2,500 holders. Do you know how many we're up to right now?
We're halfway. We're about halfway. Yeah, we're about halfway.
Almost halfway.
Looking it up right now.
Last I checked was like 49%.
But that's specifically for BSC, isn't it?
Correct.
BSC, yeah. So I would say this: if there's a
okay, we have 1,200 holders.
If there's an advantageous, or would be advantageous for us if there's a community member out there who wants to take the lead. We could easily set up a channel where you could swap back and forth to different wallets, and we could accumulate that quickly. So I'm not saying I'm doing it. I'll do the swaps. I'll help out. But if somebody wants to take the lead on that, talk to Ali. And we'll get a channel set up and we'll knock it out. So
even if people spread out their BSC that they have into the 6 different addresses in your Zelcore, that would
finish it up
a lot.
Well, we just need a campaign to do that. So I would say let's try to find somebody that'll own that. Maybe we have somebody that already wants to jump on that. So all right, next question, Ali.
Right. So next question is: will shared Flux node have the right to vote in the XDAO?
No. They will, but it will be whoever controls the shared node. So in this case, you're probably asking about CoinMetro and what they're doing with the staking on their platform. It will be that governance model doesn't take into consideration any type of staking and or shared nodes. We only worry about the primary nodes. So it's going to really be up to that exchange. So they may, if it's a proposition that would affect, maybe the economic model or something to do with the project, I'm sure that they'll have input on it as well. And by the way, that's not a bad thing because people say, well, then you got a bunch of nodes that are centralized. Well, guess what? People are going to build businesses on this platform and they're going to have a vested interest. It's just like being a stakeholder or a shareholder in a big business, right? It is a community-based project and we develop it out. And those community members can be businesses. They can be personal. They can be, in my case, my grandchildren, granddaughter, and who's now like a month old. So she has her own node. So, I'll help her vote for it. But anyway, it's a broad swath of different people that come into it. And make no mistake, there are businesses that are creating their business plans now to include the development on Flux. I can't say more than that, but there are large businesses that are looking to expand to a decentralized, a hybrid-based platform. We've talked about this before. So, kind of cool stuff going on there. I don't know if I answered the question or not, but it sounded really good.
All right. So next question is: how will pools know who to pass the pair assets to as address for the different assets differ from the original mining addresses, or will they be getting Flux directly?
Well, if you deferred from a different mining address, we can't help you out. It would be the snapshot would have been whatever you were using as that address to mine with at that particular point in time. So the way the pools will look at it is they'll look at all the addresses that are mining, and if they were mining at the time of the parallel asset, they'll know exactly who gets what and when and how. So we're going to help them out with that process. So, but if you're changing mining addresses every other day, that probably won't work for parallel mining. You got to stick to a primary.
I have a feeling that a lot of mining pools won't even opt into just inherently distributing the parallel assets as they are. They're probably going to opt into fusion swapping and distributing an extra amount of Flux to their holders or their miners.
if that's what they would like to do and that's what their community agrees on, because I mean, ultimately that's what mining pools are. Really, they're tribalistic communities. Everybody goes there and they mine and they have input on it. We're not gonna bulk about that, because ultimately people will vote with their feet. If they don't like the way they handled it, they'll leave and they'll go to a pool that gives them exactly what they want, and then they'll end up where they want. So, and I think diversity is in this parallel mining really creates an opportunity, because you're not necessarily hemmed into one particular platform, right? You're able to go to these different platforms. You're able to participate in them. Some may be, like you said, an opt-in on Fusion, where they just do a distribution across the pool, and if people are happy with that and that's what they like, that's where they stay. I know Flux pools will do it individually to the miner. So if you mine there and your address was there and you're qualifying for the parallel asset, it'll be passed down to you. So yeah, I think it's really cool. I think it opens the door for a lot of different options. And with ETH eventually here, going to proof of stake, I think that really bodes well for us, because we're working with what to mine. We're showing exactly how that mathematical equation of the parallel assets plays into the pieces. And as people start to really catch on to what parallel mining is, I think our goal is to be the #1 project to go after a lot of that hash rate. So I think we'll be up there.
All right. So next question is, what the Flux team will do with the Flux from proposals, 200 Flux per proposal, right? So will they be allocated for a specific topic?
That's a great question. And what we're going to do is we're going to give it back to the users who submitted it. So the reason why we have the 200 Flux for the proposal is we want to make sure that we're not getting spammed on the network. If you make it 5 Flux, people could put in 30 bullshit proposals and it would just take up our time. So we had to make it a little bit of resources behind it. And if the proposal is a good proposal and it's accepted to be pushed through the XDAO, then we'll give that 200 Flux back, and hopefully that person gets funded for their Flux and they can go on about their business. But it's really just meant as a fail-safe to make sure that we're not getting a bunch of bullshit.
All right. Next question is, can you review the current delivered roadmap versus the suggested roadmap on the website and give guidance on what we can expect to see delivered in Q3? Did any items get missed off in Q2?
Wow. If you're going to have me comparing roadmaps, that's going to be treacherous. So there is I will tell you, there is a article in development right now by, Grim Meeper. Grim Meeper is putting together we call it an extended roadmap. So it's really from the initiation of when Flux was the first Flux was, Zell. It was the first Zell was minted, all the way through the transition, the fork, and all the way down. So I would say to my knowledge, we haven't missed anything. We've pushed several items off into different quarters because they were dependent on other pieces. But I would say I can talk a little bit about what we expect to see. Greggybear and Litte Stache, you got anything to add in terms of some of the things that you're seeing as well?
Some of the things on the roadmap I see are kind of dependent on us needing a Flux fork to add more features, such as like UDP support and some other things.
Form.
We're looking at that, early Q3? Because that's only a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah. It is it's the next logical iteration. So we're packaging that up now. So I can tell you right now, these guys, Greggybear and Litte Stache and all these new devs that have come on, these guys are on fire. Like literally the dev channel, I can't even read through it anymore. It's so much stuff. You know what I mean? These guys have some seriously great ideas. They're working with Volter. Ryan, his link is in there now as well. These three, especially I call them the new Three Stooges, like Litte Stache, Greggybear, and Ryan Flick, right? These guys are hot and heavy, and they're making me think too. And it's kind of pissing me off a little bit, because I'm like, where do they come up with these good ideas? that I should be coming up with these too. So, but it's great. I love it. So working together with Vader and Volter and Trunk and all these different players it's really kind of cool to see this shit develop. So all good things.
Without giving away the farm, there are some items on the roadmap that may not align specifically with the dates, and that's somewhat intentional. We're making some changes behind the scene that, yes, we could do it right now, but it won't be as good as if we do it in the future. So
100%.
Some of the things you're going to see that come after that fork are going to blow your mind.
It's blown my mind already, and we're not even there yet.
It's like that common expression you always say, Dan, what can't Flux be used for? And pretty soon, this is going to be true.
Yep. Yeah.
A hell of a lot less.
After the fork, it really, and a lot of people have asked this. They say, they talk about use cases and goofy shit like that because they don't necessarily understand the fundamental principles of how this was developed. And then what they'll see is, and I always say, they'll get to a point where the cap comes off, right? It's going to go parabolic. That fork will usher in a completely different a network, the ability to tune things up quickly. The level of applications that'll be launched is staggering. Like it really blows my mind. There isn't one idea that I don't come up with and I say, guys, could we do this? Oh, hell yes. We'll put it on the list. This Trunk, win fork, man. Let's go. I'm just kidding. So he's got enough on his damn plate. So, but yeah, that's a good question.
See, the cool thing about Flux is it was inherently designed out to be a way that existing architecture and technology can be deployed. Like other chains, they're completely reinventing the wheel and expecting developers to deploy on their network in a completely new environment, doing something completely different. When you want wide-scale adoption, you don't want to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
It's like when you try to migrate to AWS at a business. You approach AWS and they go, well, just re-engineer every single thing you've done. No. Just go to hell. I just want to run the thing.
Yeah, and not only that, from a developer standpoint, I mean, native language that they're programming in, we don't care. We don't give a shit. If you're doing whatever you built your application in, shove that into a Docker and give it to us, and we'll make sure it gets decentralized. So, good point. Greggybear on that one. So
the Docker file defines what system you're using. If you want to install on Node.js, you put that in the Docker file. If you want to install on Alpine, you put that in the Docker file. It supports so many different architectures, even multi-architecture builds, such as like ARM architecture.
Dude, I was testing
Docker's amazing. I love it. And it fascinates me every day I work with Flux how built out it actually is. And most people don't actually know this.
Yeah. It is
tested with an old Perl toolkit, and that worked perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, and really, what the whole concept behind what Flux is going to do, and the Dockerization of these pieces, is to take the old tech, and kind of reason why we were showcasing some of these older games, these older things that people grew up with, or new fun things, is that we don't care where you came from. We care where you're going, and we believe. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't believe that Flux dethrones centralized infrastructure. I don't believe that. I believe you have a hybrid-based infrastructure. I think you have companies. Greggybear and I talked about this in nauseum about how we believe that, there'll be a world where you can see a centralized component to things, but they also start to work toward a decentralized model as well. So, who's to say what the future holds and what the technology is that we continue to iterate to? But I will tell you, we're going to be decentralized. We're going to be fast. We're going to be cheaper, and we're going to be more scalable. I mean, we can scale instantaneously if needed. So, I think that's a big deal. So that's a long answer to that question, Ollie, but I think they got it.
All right. So next question is, let me just pull that up. All right. So how to get notified an Xstop proposition needs my vote. It will be amazing to have in Zelcore a notification that the Xstop proposal is active and need my vote.
So, I don't know. I have a different kind of philosophy on this, a different theory. So one of the things we're going to talk, I have some announcements here at the end of today that I want to get into this a little bit more. But I honestly think what you may end up seeing is Flux having a decentralized app that you will utilize for that voting process. So not necessarily even Zelcore, although Zelcore could be a logical solution as well. But I think as things get developed out, I think you could actually see that into a DApp, and people can go in and participate and vote and so on and so forth. But the notification process, the way that it works now, is when you, I believe in Litte Stache, correct me if I'm wrong, you log on to your node, you'll see the proposals that have been submitted, and you'll be able to review them. So, and then when you vote, it's one Zell ID for that node for that vote. So one node, one. Well, not one vote, but I think it's 100 for, 100. I don't know what the numbers are. I don't have them in front of me right now, but you understand what I'm saying. So I don't know that it'll be integrated into Zelcore. It may be its own DApp. So we could see that.
Yeah. Most people, I don't even think are gonna have to use their own nodes. They can just go on to home.runonflux.io and vote there on a public node. You don't have to be connected to your own node to vote.
Right. Yeah.
It's linked directly to your Zell ID, which you sign the transaction with Zelcore and that.
Yeah.
But what's cool about this first iteration of XDAO is that, I kind of want to see the community participation around it. I want to see people rally behind ideas and try to be proponents for what they want pushed. And I think it's going to be cool seeing that community interaction and the rallying behind things, because that shows we have a strong community.
Yeah. One of the things that came up in chat is Rue Gone said in 150 years, quantum computing will change everything. Or maybe 10 years, he's saying. It might change everything, but the technology is iterative. So there's not to say that we wouldn't, if quantum computing comes into place, quantum mining, maybe, I don't know. It could be some crazy shit. So new technologies create new problems, but they also create new solutions. So, and that's the exciting stuff is, we realize that this isn't a static process. This will be an iterative process for the length of the project. And hopefully the community is aware of that. And I know they are, and they participate in XDAO. That's how you keep those things moving forward. So quick iterative processes like that keeps you on top of tech. So anyway, that was a good one. That's just why I wanted to bring it up real quick. All right, next question, Ollie.
All right, next question is, how is the new look and feel of FluxOS coming along? Can we have a sneak peek of the latest?
Well, let's skip that one. I'm gonna have some announcements at the end, and we'll talk about it then.
Okay. Let's see what the next question is.
Signal One Crypto. That's a good question. Shout out.
All right. So next question is, let's see if I can post it. Yeah. What is the difference between the parallel assets and sites like hotcross.com offering similar capabilities? Would you see these new entrants as competition?
I don't think it's competition. I think I think what we started was kind of a new dynamic to bridge these worlds between DeFi and because proof of work versus proof of stake had always been the argument in the past, but the holy grail was interchain operability, the ability to have your asset or your platform interact with different platforms. And parallel assets was the first foray into that. To my knowledge, there's no project doing what we're doing, especially with developing it with proof of work consensus. There are other projects out there that are saying what we're doing, but they're proof of stake and they're running their nodes in centralized infrastructure. So it really puts it back in the hands of the community, and that's the key. That is the key, and that's Bitcoin doesn't have a marketing team. It doesn't have a developmental team. It doesn't have PR. It doesn't have all these things. What it has is a vibrant community that continues to push the project. And ultimately, that's where we want to be. We want to be where the community really is our best backing. So I don't see competition there. I think anytime somebody's developing stuff, I think that's great. And, you know, a lot of people would say, well, you got to be first, you got to be best, or you got to be cheapest. We can be all three. We can be all three. And we can learn from other projects as well. I can tell you right now, there are projects that I learn from every day. They do something and I'm like, shit, we could do that. We could do that better, you know? And that gave birth to some of the biggest tech giants out there, you know, Amazon, Google, some of these other, Microsoft, shit, Bill Gates and his building computers in his garage and shit. So it all starts somewhere. And to me, as long as they're not a scam project and they're just, you know, a bullshit 100% mined by VC project, I would say that it's not competition. I think it's good for the space. All right. How many questions have we got left, Ollie? We've got like 10 minutes or so.
We are just, I think it's the 10th question we're going to about. Let me go
shit.
A little bit slow. Yeah. Let's move on to the next one. So I see storage options on my node. Has this anything to do with the releasing storage nodes?
Yes. To be announced later on. Good observation. Again, Signal Crypto. Next question.
All right, next question is, will parallel mining rewards be back paid from 27th March on community pool, or will the pool keep the coins?
No, they'll be distributed to the miners. 100%. Right now the loyalty rewards when Flux fork. Rome just threw it up in general. It's got a picture of today. It just says when Flux fork. Well done, Rome. I like it. We're gonna spam the shit out of him with that today. So no, I think that that what they're doing with their loyalty mining piece will eventually be. We're going to offer that to all pools, as long as you're in the construct of how we are going to do parallel mining and distributions. We're willing to work with anybody, but yes, the community pool will 100% support that.
All right. Next question is, when is Fusion coming specifically for parallel assets back to Flux? How seamless will it integrate with future parallel assets? As in, we'll be always waiting for Fusion to catch up to swapping new parallel assets? Next
question. We'll come to that at the end. Make sure you put that one on queue.
Okay, so I'll just mark this one here. Give me a second. All right, let's see. The next one is,
man, I'll tell you what, our community is smart. They really are. The questions that they put are no bullshit questions, and I appreciate everybody that does this because these are hard hitting questions, and I like that. That's what really gets people to understand and develop and know the project. So good work on all these.
All right. So next question is, oh man, it's cutting off a little bit, but I'll fix this. Would running a Terra node be possible on a Flux node? Do we have a list of projects we are hoping to bring into Flux OS? Will XStall be used to vote on priority? Can you share what others are being considered? Rewards, for example.
Who gave that one? I can't see the end.
That's a lot of questions.
I was going to say
that's a Signal One Crypto.
That Signal One, you calm your ass down. Save some for the rest of us, right? So no. Okay, I'll go through this quick. The Theta nodes have a very high computational requirement. I believe that we could eventually look at launching something like that, and we want to eventually get to the point where all these projects that want to have a decentralized air to them. That's why Flux was born. Firo and the work we're doing with those guys now, the work we've done with KDA, the work we've done with other people, right? These are all pretty awesome opportunities. So we have a list of the individuals that we'd like to bring, and it doesn't look like a list that you would think it would look like because it doesn't revolve just around the crypto space. It revolves around technology stacks. So you will see some names eventually that are very familiar to you in the space, and you'll be like, oh shit, I never even thought of that. So they're thinking about it. We're the new cool thing, man. We're it. Right. So, and I say that the whole computational resource piece, I see 2 or 3 projects a day launching and say, they got their white paper up there and they're like, this is what we're going to do in a year. And I'm like, Okay, yeah, you do that. good luck with that, right? So tried and true, and we built it the way it should be. So, and can you share others? I can't share any other projects. So, but know that there is a list of those projects.
Theta, if we ever get to the point where we up the node requirements for certain tiers, I could see that being a possibility. Right now, it would consume an entire Stratus.
Yeah, it's 4 CPU count and 8 gigs of memory.
And the 1 terabyte SSD, which is above even what we require for Stratus.
Oh, it's 1 terabyte SSD.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like,
oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, if we bump the requirements,
storage nodes out there? Yeah, do we have storage nodes out there that we could
have? You on.
Yeah, well, those opportunities are going to come. So I'm excited for those things. So keep those projects in mind and keep suggesting.
There is a Docker made of the Theta node, though, but I see the environment labels. It requires a password, so that would only be viable as like a local solution if we ever do that.
You'll probably have it launched next week. So no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we got lots of stuff, irons in the fire. So okay, next one, Ollie.
All right, next one is, what plans do you have around increasing the utility of Flux currency? For now, only need for Flux is the transaction fees. Participating in XDAO and need Flux to run a node. Is there a timeline planned? By Signal, One Crypto.
Holy shit, man! What do you want? I mean, we talk about use cases. There is no project out there like Flux. Yeah, you needed to create your node infrastructure. You needed to vote on XDAO if you'd like to, stake for a service to get Zelcore Plus. There's we're continuing to develop that out. I'll say it again. We are not a currency. We are a utility asset, and there's a big damn difference. Utility assets build in. And everything we do, there's a piece to it, right? So even Fusion, when you go through Fusion, you have to spend a little Flux to get that Fusion, to get those parallel assets back. So I mean, I would say there really isn't a project out there that has a deeper use case than what we're doing right now. I mean, let's take a walk through the top 10 and think about that. You know what I mean? To launch a DApp, you're going to need Flux. To eventually put storage in FluxShare, you're going to need Flux. To submit to the XDAO, you're going to need Flux. To run your nodes, you're going to need Flux. The need goes on and on.
Don't forget about the parallel assets and what they add.
Yeah, and I mean, the cross chain swaps that Fusion brings to the place. There's nothing out there like that. Leaving one ecosystem to go to another ecosystem to do whatever it is, like we have people staking in liquidity pools now for Flux on ETH, on Binance Smart Chain. We'll eventually have Solana in there. We'll eventually have Tron. We'll have all these different platforms that we're doing these things on. So I would say I don't think there's another project, and if you can find one, you bring it to me that has a deeper use for their utility asset than we do. So there are projects that do currency models better than us. We're not a currency model. So I think we need to kind of get beyond that. And I think the the under part of this question is, how do we increase the value of the asset, right? So how does number go up? Well, the number goes up because there's going to be a scarcity of this. We know that at any given time, I mined Ethereum when it was 20 cents, right? So, boy, I wish I would have held on to that shit. But anyway. Long story short is when you start off at a base level project, all it takes is CryptoKitties, and you've become, this entire ecosystem that people start to discover, and they'll realize the scarcity of the actual asset. So, I hope that helps.
Well, what I wanted to touch on is the actual utility behind these parallel assets. Most people don't realize you can do stuff like ZK rollups with it. So you have privacy on the Ethereum chain, or even Cadena. I think one of their chains is also a privacy chain. Just move your token to that, make your transactions. And there's so many other use cases. There's even margin trading on a lot of these DeFi platforms with your parallel token. If you want to do that risk, I don't advise it. Margin trading's bad. I learned bad lessons from this.
Get wrecked.
Yeah, essentially. But yeah, it's like, what utility can it be used for right now? Because these parallel assets just unlocked an infinite amount of possibilities, essentially.
Yeah, I agree. Go ahead, Greg.
A lot of the misconception is coming from right now. We are still working on some of those larger partnerships that you've alluded to, Dan. And the way they're going to pay isn't in US dollar. It's going to be in Flux. And I mean, when you start seeing that kind of volume.
Yeah. Yes and no. So we'll talk about this a little bit with Fusion, because I want to get to Fusion at the end of this conversation. But for us to be very viable for businesses, they don't want to do that conversion from USD or Euro to Flux, right? So they don't want to have to necessarily go do that. And Fusion in our onboarding process will eventually peg that. This is why Fetch was born. We'll know what the moving average is across all of the crypto space, right? And it'll automatically give you a USD dollar amount tied to that. I want to pay with, I'm a business owner. I want to stand something up decentralized, but I want to pay with dollars. So it's almost like passive market making. It'll take those dollars and it'll convert them to Flux, and then it goes into the ethos, right? Yeah. So it's boom, down it goes. So we want to make sure that the boarding process is super simple. So we're going to look at payment providers that work with us as well. So including eventually our own payment provider. I mean, I think you could eventually see the ability for us to be able to receive assets in a decentralized manner. And I think that's really what Fusion was born for, and we'll talk more about it. But yeah, I mean, I think you could see a lot of onboarding coming that way. Good point, Greg. All right, Ali, how many more we got? We can do a speed round, so start firing them. Ali, did we lose you?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was talking on mute. All right, we got 6 minutes, so let's push a little bit. So next question is, with today's announcement of the XDA, KDA, chain web data, will the rewards be changing for node ops?
The nodes, the way that the rewards work is we basically take a weighted average. So every month we sit down and we figure out, we take into different components. There's a mathematical equation. So it's difficulty of the project in terms of mining, current price, number of nodes on the network, number of required nodes on the network, and then we come up with a kind of that equation. And this is all done behind the scenes. We don't even look at it really. It just happens, right? So, and that'll adjust just like the difficulty for mining a project. It's going to adjust it up and down. When the price is down, you probably get a little bit more. When the price is up, you probably get a little bit less. But it's not done. It's not done in real time. It's done by spanning over a month and taking those averages and then including it to the next month. So, I expect the rewards to stay about static where they're at this last reward for the foreseeable future. So for at least a month or two, right? But then I think the big component is you're going to have to run two different Dockers, which means you're going to have two different pieces you have to keep in uptime, which means it will reduce the number of nodes that are on the network, which means it'll increase the value of what you're doing if you're doing it right. So long story short is, I think the price goes up because I think there are people that will not be able to continue to keep participating because decentralized systems administrators is hard. It's hard work. And, we're going to lean hard on those individuals to make sure they keep their infrastructure up.
I'm going to tag on this one because it also answers an upcoming question somewhat. With chain web data, your rewards do not change for Stratus nodes if you run that and the other Cadena app. Nimbus doesn't change at all. They just keep doing what they're doing. The caveat with Stratus is if you don't run chain web, you will only receive the rewards for Nimbus tier because in essence, you are no longer participating at a Stratus level. Yep. So Stratus 2, you have to run both apps. Nimbus, just keep flowing like you've been doing.
Yeah, that's a good point, Greg. Good add in there. So, there'll be lots of communication on it. I think we're going to really push within the next week, not next week, but the following week to get the new requirements in place. So just hang on and we'll give more information as we go.
All right. Next question is, Is the KDA chainware will be available in the future for Raspberry Pi?
I don't know. That's up to Vultr. I think it's possible. I know X4 and Vultr are really the guys that are the Pi experts. So we're going to try to get those guys on an AMA coming up too. And I think we can ask them that question. I mean, the ultimate goal is to get it everywhere, right? So I don't necessarily know that you would be able to do both of those on a Pi. I don't think so. But
I believe we're waiting for a Flux fork so that it supports ARM64.
Yeah. So that's kind of that answer, Greg. Thank you for the question.
All right. Next question is: will it be possible to run KDA and Fire on a Nimbus node?
I think so. Yeah. I think Stash, you were doing that, right?
Yeah. I was looking at. I was benchmarking the requirements and. I think so. I think Firo can run at 1.3 gigabytes RAM with one core, and that should be sufficient to run alongside a KDA node.
Sweet. So there's your answer. We got to move quick, guys. We only got a couple more minutes left.
Next question is the Flux pools.net is hosted as a Dockerized site on Flux master nodes?
Meaning is Flux hosted? No, it's not. But that it eventually will make it its way there. So what we're doing right now is we're concentrating on actually moving some of the Zelcore infrastructure to the decentralized model. And as a matter of fact, one of the very first things Little Stache launched, we utilize for Zelcore as well. So as that infrastructure makes its way over, then we'll start to look around the room and we'll find different opportunities to move that over. But I mean, ultimately, that's the goal, is for it to be on Flux.
That will for certain have to be post fork.
Post fork, yeah, it's post fork. I'm telling you, the fork creates a different world, man. Like we better get ready, and we better be ready to move quick because it's going to be a lot of shit coming.
All right. Next question is: when will the native Rune be supported? What about TorChain integration?
Right now, I'm just being quite honest. We have a short list of projects we want to work with to continue to keep working on those. I'm assuming you mean in Zelcore. And I will tell you their focus right now is Eve and some of the pieces that they're working on over there. So new assets, I don't think we'll probably see any new assets for at least about a month. And then I think you'll see a flurry of new assets being added. So, I know TorChain has some different components to it as well. They're kind of interesting, and they're kind of on my short list to look at eventually as well.
All right. The last question is: could you tell us plans for the next days or weeks?
Well, Betty, you set me up. Thank you. That's exactly what I want to talk about. So, thank you to everyone who submitted an AMA question. So I just want to go over a couple things that's going to happen in the next couple weeks. So you don't think it could get more action-packed than the 20 on 20. And a lot of the work behind the scenes has been so fast and furious. It almost puts your head spinning. These guys know what I'm talking about because a lot of that stuff is, it's happening so quick in real time that we're developing these things. Like Little Stache is saying, hey, I need to whitelist this because this is the 20 on 20 release for today. You know what I mean? Like we're doing it now. It's live. It's happening. Like, he's building the back end, the Dockerized container, and we're whitelisting it. And within 15 minutes, we're ready to just to send it out to everybody and let them know what's up. So, really,
I think that goes to say a bit like how easy it is to actually deploy stuff on Flux. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of this stuff, it's not premeditated. We haven't spent a month putting together Dockers in order to deploy. It's just easy to do, and that's good for seeing mass adoption. Amen. And we're kind of showcasing that in a way.
Yep.
I was brand new to the project not too long ago. You sent me a little thing, and 10 minutes later I had stuff up.
It's insane. It's like, hey, you've been here for like 5 minutes. Hey, you want to join the team? Let's get you in there and start standing shit up. So, we move quick. So this is what it looks like. And there's a couple spoilers here. So we have our 20 on 20 announcement today that Little Stache has just sent me. And If you want to share what we're going to release today, Little Stash, real quick, that'd be great.
Yeah, it's something called Sync Paint. People have been wanting something with a little bit more interaction, multiplayer. It's not exactly a game, so it's hard to say multiplayer, but yeah, people can go into a room together and paint or draw something or type. It's essentially a whiteboard that you can share and run on Flux, and yeah.
I love it, actually, because when we have our meetings, we always say we want to create this whiteboard, and then you all have to be together in one area. This is kind of cool because everybody can come in at different times and different intervals, and they can offer up whatever it is that they want to in those particular areas. So I think that's a really cool one. It's another great bit. That's more of a business use case, I think. And I think post-fork, you'll see a lot of the focus around those business use cases. So, I mean, I don't want to give away anything, but there's lots of things in the pipeline.
Every salesperson that has anything to do with Flux, anybody that's a technical support engineer, a pre-sales engineer, anything like that, think about it in this way. You can do a Zoom whiteboard without having to give presenter to everyone that wants to draw.
See, Greg, you need to write the use case for these damn things. I didn't even think of that. That is great. So yeah, super. And that's what Greg brings to the project. He comes up with those ideas like that because of his experience in the past with network administration. So, I love that. So one of the big things coming this week is a brand new website. We talked about it earlier. Our ultimate goal is to develop that website to be completely in tune with, drum roll please, the release of the new back end of Flux, the new Flux OS. If you haven't seen this, I've teased it in Discord before. It's fucking amazing. Like, it is beautiful. It is seamless. It brings everything into one place. I mean, even Flux Share is in there as its own little entity. It looks like Dropbox. I mean, this is a game changer. So our ultimate goal is to take what we're doing for the onboarding front end of the website and integrate that with the operating system in the back to create this onboarding model. So, and then what we've done is kind of reverse engineered some of the things that AWS, DigitalOcean, those other players do, and we kind of went backwards a little bit and said, how can we make this kind of a scale appropriately? So, brand new website, brand new launch of the new Flux OS with a new dashboard, which is fantastic. And I'm going to give you a behind the scenes for number 20. So we saved the best for last. So number 20 will be the absolute release of Fusion. So I am super excited about it. We're testing it now. It changes the entire complexity of how we exchange assets. And the question earlier was, when Fusion releases, are we going to expect this iterative process? And I would say, yes, there'll be a little iterative process as we kind of release new assets. There'll be a period of time where we make sure everything is working the way that it should work. But now it'll be condensed. It won't be months. It'll be days or weeks. Depending on how much, how difficult the different parallel asset is to go through. But yeah, Fusion is number 20. Right. So I don't want to steal thunder. If you came today, you got a little bit of something out of that. So I think that's going to be. So what, people say, well, what makes Fusion different from a lot of these different things? Well, Fusion will take Flux, right, and convert that Flux into parallel assets that then can participate in other chains, right? But think of that in terms of any asset. Whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's Litecoin, whether it's Ethereum, if you could move your asset to that asset in a decentralized manner without the word DEX, it's very, very seamless. And it will be, Fusion will be eventually integrated, I believe, into Eve, so that it'll be all behind the scenes and it'll work the way that it's supposed to work. Crypto, the ultimate goal of what Zelcore is looking to do now is reduce the barrier of entry for individuals to come into the space and participate in these different networks. And Fusion is another arrow in our quiver that, I think is going to really change the game. So I'm super excited for the release of that. That'll be our 20th app. And it we'll finish out the 20 and 20 with some big style, but that doesn't stop the process. So, one of the questions that I had, somebody asked me sidebar over here, is what happens after the 21-20? We keep fucking going. We're not stopping, right? This is, Litte Stache joined the team, Greggybear joined the team, all these people joined the team. Why do they want to join the team? They want to stand shit up. They want to go. So I think we even get more momentum. And then I think what you see is at the fork, we'll see another event like the 20-20, but it's going to be at a higher level. It's going to be maybe we'll do the 10 and 10, and those 10 apps are going to be, I can't. Damn it! I wish I could tell you guys, but it's going to be awesome. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But Fusion is a big part of that. So that'll be our 20th, and I think I'm pretty pleased with that. So
not day one after the fork. We need a little ramp up time.
Oh, come on, man!
Dude,
no, I'm just kidding.
I've got a Counter-Strike server ready to go.
Okay, Stache is ready to go.
What the hell, man? So yeah, he gives away all the good little pieces. Hey, I'll tell you what. We've added a lot of these gaming platforms, and all of a sudden we're getting a lot of interest from these different gaming providers that they want to see some decentralized infrastructure as well. So this could be something down the road that we look back at and we're like, remember when we launched these games, and now we have, Roboblocks or whatever the hell that game is.
If you're a small indie developer, a small indie studio, and you don't want to pay your first child to Sony, Microsoft, anything to host your game, we got a spot for you. What's up?
We got you covered. Talk. Yeah, come talk to Flux. We're in it to win it. So, well, that about wraps up our time. I want to thank Litte Stache and Greggybear and Ollie for coming today. I want to make sure that everybody continues to get out there, be evangelists of Flux and what we're doing. Now is the time. Decentralized networks are absolutely paramount. We have even the United States government saying that they're going to start to censor some of the things that we're doing. A platform where you can't be deplatformed, you can't be censored, and it's a community-involved platform that can continue to keep growing is now more important than ever. And we are leading that charge, and we will continue to keep leading that charge. So think about that, and think about what you'd like to see on Flux, and let us know. So thanks, everybody, for coming today, and look forward to the next AMA.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good one.